sports. I will be brutally honest. Ain't nothing but being brutally honest. Coming at you with another video. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Cowboys content creator, the legend, the myth, Akoye Media. Man, how's it going, bro?
That's Akoye too, brother. I know you don't say it that much, but I got you. I got you. What's up with you?
How's it going, man? It's been over a year since we had this little chit chat, man. Last year's playoff, it was legendary, bro. It was a great game, but this is another round two, man.
A lot has changed since then, though, man.
What's changed, man? What's changed lately?
Our quarterback, mainly. Our quarterback. Dak Prescott is at a level now. I mean, obviously, I've criticized Dak with the best of them and probably harder than most because I look at him a lot more intently than most. But at this point, Dak Prescott has shown me, even with some of the mistakes only pointed to me that later in the season, that he's actually reaching or trying to be a little bit more aggressive. And for a guy who's been known for being a little too conservative, there's a balance to that. It ebbs and flows. So at this point, I feel like the added aggression comes from him attempting to do more than he's ever done before. And I think that comes from the style of coaching that we have at the top right now with Mike McCarthy. And I would say even a little bit of the way the defense is playing too. You can take a little bit more chances because these guys are apt at getting you the ball back, and people are scared of seeing them anyway. You saw that drive in Tampa Bay where we had two drives where they got into the red zone. We had 1 4 and out. Stop on fourth down, and then they had another where Kurtz got an interception in the back of the end zone. So we are bend but don't break, aggressive, pin your ears back and come get you type of defense. Shout out to Dono too. But that's what I mean. We're a lot different top down. You got I can go anywhere with it, but mainly our quarterback, man. Dak Prescott to me is ascending into a quarterback that I think can lead this team for the unforeseen future in regards to deep into the playoffs and so on. And again, before you go, you had Garrett, who I think teams actually mimic their their coach's personality. And Dak was conservative and very apt and secure with the football under Garrett. And now he's a little bit more aggressive and wild with the football under McCarthy. And I did a video on McCarthy showing like McCarthy's effects on quarterbacks throughout his career, whether it was Montana, Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Brooks, all the quarterbacks he's worked with have had this effect. They've all played their best football under him and under his regime. So this is no different. And I didn't think it would be.
Well, it's no different with him because he's had a good track record at that point. When you look at the way he's developed this offense, he's been with Green Bay for so many years. They won a Super Bowl under him.
Yeah.
But people don't want to give that credit there because they think it's Rodgers. But I think
Rodgers ain't won one without him, did he?
Yeah, you're right about that part. But the difference of this matchup is I think Tony Pollard's becoming one of the most versatile players in your guys' offense. Like, he's doing everything and then some.
Tony Pollard is definitely a difference maker. He's a lot like, Christian McCaffrey. He's a lot like him. I think he runs a little bit more physical than Christian, but they both have a similar home run aspect. And, Tony is one thing, but Tony can be stopped. He's been stopped, a few times this season. And even in the Tampa Bay game, he had a couple of, plays where he spilled out there, but he wasn't, he was the focal point as far as the ground was concerned, but he wasn't the difference maker in that game. That game, the last game that we played against Tampa Bay was a game that we usually don't win because when they stop us on the ground, we usually have a hard time in the air because we're one-dimensional. And Dak actually won a one-dimensional game last week. It was just Dak. Dak's accounted for all of our touchdowns. So you can point to Tony if you want to, but to say that, we're not you guys, and I'm not coming at you when I say that. But Purdy, I've been studying Purdy, man. Purdy's he's a player. He got heart, but it's not a game where I feel like if we stop Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuels on the ground and we stop your play action, Purdy's a one read and run. He's a one read and go quarterback. He's going to read one progression and then he's out. You know what I'm saying? Dak's not that. You can stop the run. You can stop Tony. You can stop Zeke, and I think Dak is still going to give you, his best shot, and we still have a chance to win with Dak being one-dimensional in that sense. We don't need to go for that. That we need to run the ball effectively. But I do feel that if we can't, we still have opportunities in the air. Whereas I don't think the same is true for you guys. So it's a little different. You could point to Tony if you want to, but I still know that we can still dog walk you in the air.
Oh, there's a lot of weapons there. Like Dalton Schultz is another guy that's been a red zone threat for you guys. I mean, CD Lamb's one of the best receivers, like up there, like very good.
Why you got me on death row too? I realize I'm sitting on death row. Though. I'm in the electric chair over here.
You're again.
I see you. I see how you feeling. But listen, go ahead. My bad. I cut you off.
No, but you're right about it. Like you guys have some skilled players, and Dak's already played before. I mean, he's got all the tools to succeed. He's playing under McCarthy. That should be beneficial for him, and plus he's got enough weapons to help him. So even if he doesn't have a great running game, we've seen him actually throw the ball many times and actually carried his team at times. But like you said, Brock Purdy, you said he's like a one-read get-off, whatever. He'll look for the next guy, but he's got the best supporting cast, so that's a lot you can ask for a quarterback,
He's got the best supporting cast, but if we can limit the run, there's two things we got to do in this game. If we limit the run early and score early, if we can score and get up early on you guys and limit your run opportunities early in the game, forcing him to hold the ball. Doc Purdy's a guy you want to play tight coverage defensively. So if we're playing press man and he's forced to go to his second read, he's not a read to field guy. He can't get to his second progression to save his life. His second progression is him running. And while running, he's looking for something frantically while he's doing that. But I noticed that Seattle was able to push him to his left quite a bit. They just didn't play coverage that well because their corners were shooting up early, trying to help stop the run. We can't afford to do that. We need to pay attention to our assignments in the air because that's the only opportunity he has to get the ball out there. And you guys literally, and I'm going to drop this, this breakdown probably later on tonight tomorrow. I'm almost done. But you run the same route over and over and over again with Brock Purdy, like over again. It's fucking crazy. I can't believe that you beat Seattle, to be honest. I really can't with that same style. Like, honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that their corners were biting on everything underneath because they were afraid of McCaffrey, you guys wouldn't have beat Seattle. I don't think you would have beat Seattle. You didn't have half the success that it looks like you had in the air because you guys were really they were open because the corners were biting on the run, not because your receivers were running routes. You guys run a go route on one side of the field and an over route on the opposite side, depending on what hash mark you're on. Then you flip it and do the same thing over and over again. It's an over route with Deebo, over route with Ayuk, whoever is coming across the middle on that crossing route, and then you run off the safety. If we're playing single high, you'll run off the safety with that deep route, and that's your scheme in the air pretty much. Everything is predicated off of play action and RPO. That's all you guys are doing. There's nothing special.
Yeah, why stop what's working?
It worked. I can't believe it worked. I'm like, I don't know what Seattle was looking at, but you didn't change the entire game. You did the same shit the entire game, and that blows my. When I watched the film, I was like, damn, And then pushing Brock to his left, he can't. He's not a guy that can run to his left and still throw the ball. Like Dak can do that very well. Brock can't do that. He has to set his feet, get his shoulder set again, and throw. So once they pushed him to his left, he wasn't really doing much. But it's just that those play actions were killing Seattle because they kept biting. The safeties were biting. Everybody was biting on play action so crazy that you got opportunities in the air. And what I would say is, if they're going to beat me on the ground, they're going to beat me on the ground against our 8-man front. The three that are back, our safety and our two corners, you guys, you cover. If they get to you, you tackle them late, whatever. But I don't want them involved in the run at all, really. No blitzing, no none of that. Because if you stay back and you make Brock a passer, and you force them to play that bend but don't break style and force them to do everything underneath with a too high safety look occasionally, you guys don't have it. I would make Brock drive up the field on me. He can't. They're either running or he's getting big plays due to play action. That's it.
That's what's been working for him is those play actions and all the other RPO stuff.
Yeah.
See, for the Cowboys, what would it take for you guys to beat the Niners at this matchup this time around?
I just told you that's what it is.
The physicality, right? The physicality.
The physical. We're a physical team up front. I think our offensive line is better than what we've been advertised to be. And then I feel like Dak Prescott is starting to really gel at the right time. There's a lot of things that happen late in the season that I think bode well for us. One, nobody's looking at us as the juggernauts that we are, which is good in the Vegas God's eyes. That's a problem for you guys, not us. It's also good where Dak started to struggle late in the year. So Dak's always good after criticism. Whenever a player comes out and opens his mouth and talks shit about Dak, Dak has his best games. Whenever the media is on his ass, he has his best games. And right now, every game that I can see in the foreseeable future in the playoffs, we're underdogs, including against y'all. Everybody talking like this defense is just something that we've never seen. We play good defenses. We play good teams. And when they don't look the same, we still put up 30 no matter what. Like Tampa Bay is not a bum defense. It's a good defense. Put up 31 on them, no problem. So, and really made it could have been worse. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the way Dak's able to move the ball now and the way this offense looks, I'm not afraid of the 49ers. We're not the same team we were last year. We're not playing the same. I'm talking about both sides of the ball, all three sides of the ball, even special teams is different this year. We're a lot more aggressive all around the board. I think Dak just needs to protect the football, not be so aggressive in the second quarter. We don't press for anything. Take what the defense gives you in certain spots in the second quarter. I think we only have problems when he does his hurry up offense in the second quarter. If you look at most of his interceptions, I think about 10 of them coming late in the second quarter going into halftime. Which is why we're able to recover from those interceptions too, because even though the momentum might shift, we're going into halftime and then we get to reset. So if Dak can protect the ball in the second quarter and not be as aggressive when he's in his hurry up offense, I think, we beat you guys easily. I really do. I'm not afraid of the 49ers. I'm not hating when I say that either. You know that. Like I give respect where respect is due, but I'm not afraid of the 49ers because of your quarterback. I feel like the thing that he does bring to the table, though, that we have to your one chance to win would be our ability to contain. That's something we struggled doing all season defensively. And if we can't contain Brock and we let him, it's not only stretch plays, but stretch drives due to like getting first downs over and over again on the ground, and we don't punish him when he tries to run, we're going to have a problem. And I think we'll see that against you guys. And if we do beat you, we'll see that against the Eagles too, if they wind up being there. So I look at Brock as more of a Daniel Jones than a Hurts, though. He's a guy that's mobile, but he's not a runner's runner. Whereas I'm lowering my shoulder, I'm physical. He's a guy that just has good speed and can get and can wiggle out there and get some yardage if you're not paying attention. But he's not like some of the running quarterbacks that have given us problems, like Hurts and like Chicago's
Justin Fields.
Fields, yeah, those guys. They give us problems because they're actual wide receivers with the ball in their hand. You know what I mean? Or running backs with the ball in their hand.
Yeah, that's the difference. Like
that's not Brock.
Yeah, Brock can move compared to what Jimmy was because Jimmy's immobile at times.
Yeah, I would have loved to see Jimmy.
I know that's what you're probably gonna say.
No pocket passer has done well against us all season, so I would love to see Jimmy.
Oh yeah, absolutely, he would. I mean, I've seen a lot of the matchups, and you guys have played a lot of better opponents, which you have a good solid point. But as far as our competition, we just play by our schedule, man. Dominate our NFC.
I get that.
Yeah, dominate.
Go ahead.
Well, dominating the NFC West, it's not our fault that the Rams are terrible. It's not our fault that the Seattle kind of snuck in and the Cardinals are looking that bad.
I mean, yeah, I'm not hating on that. You play who lines up against you. It's not who you play, it's how you play them, though. And you guys have had a lot of good games, tough games, like that Raiders game. You had tough games against teams that were struggling this season. And we're not one of those teams. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're a lot better than that.
We're a complete team. And we've seen guys like you. You know what I mean? Good defenses. with Giants have a good defense, solid quarterback, not great but good, and solid receiver core, and good running game. You guys have a great running game. I'll give you that. I'll give you Debo Samuels, everything. But the good thing I'd say about seeing you guys in the playoffs as opposed to anybody else, I like when we see teams twice. We are one of the greatest second half adjustment teams in the league, I think. And I think when we see a team twice, if we see you twice, we know what you're trying to do to us. We understand how to scout now. Like last year, Debo got off on us a little bit at the end of the game, but I think we had a good game plan, but the personnel was a little bit different. And so was our temperament. I haven't seen us play this way, the way we're playing now. Uh, I don't think ever. I don't think I've ever seen this defense this deep, this aggressive. And you got to remember last year, you had Diggs who was still establishing himself. People weren't as scared of him. That's why he got so many yards against them last year anyway, because people were still throwing at him. They're not throwing at Diggs as much. So I think Diggs also gives us another element defensively now where we can kind of shift everything to another side of the field. And when you got guys like Bland stepping up, and you see guys like Mukamu stepping up as well, I think what Mukamu was able to do, people aren't really talking about. But a guy that's 6'4", 210 pounds, 215, like the size of fucking Darren Woodson, you know what I mean? Who's covering guys that are shifty and small, like Goodwin, out of the slot and covering them, well the entire day. I think that deserves more respect than he's given. So I feel like this defense this year is crazy because we have so many players in so many places. Still got Mackenzie Alexander. We still have Xavier Rhodes. We just signed another guy. We still have Mullen, who I don't think will play, but we got guys who haven't even seen the field who are solid players as well. So we're not the same team. Shout out to Anthony Brown too, because him getting hurt created this vacuum or vortex over there. But I'm not glad he's hurt, but I'm glad we get an opportunity to see guys like Izzy and see what they can do due to that shuffle that's been taking place since he's been out.
Yeah, like you were talking about Darren Bland, the guy from Fresno State. I watched plenty of Fresno State games. I've seen this guy come. I mean, he was a transfer from Sacramento State. He was like a late sleeper that everybody was throwing under the radar. And it was intriguing how you guys got him. He stepped into the lineup, had like 5 interceptions, which is pretty impressive coming in as a 5th round pick.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. It's going to be interesting because one thing I can say is Purdy is not he's a good deep ball thrower. I mean, if you got some space, he needs space. And the reason he has so much space on film is because everybody's being pulled forward to try to stop the run. So he gets all the space he needs off of play action, to throw out deep. And that's he's not throwing interceptions because he's accurate. He's not throwing many interceptions because there's nobody out there when he goes to throw the ball for real. So he's able to get guys behind you. And it's like, 50-50 balls all day long. You just throw it up there and see what happens. And sometimes it goes well for him. But I don't think he's going to get that opportunity as often against us. And I hope that he's throwing the ball. I hope we get him in a position where he has to make decisions and throw the ball because he pulls that ball down without looking. Like he doesn't get to a set. I watched 31 passes of his in the Seattle game. I think it was 30. I might be thinking about Brady. But I watched his passes. I don't know what the number is, but I know I have it in the breakdown. And when he's going through his progressions, he'll get through his first read, and if his first read is pressed and it's not open immediately, he doesn't look for a second progression. His second progression, like the touchdown you threw to Mitchell, I think, right?
Yeah, that one pass.
Yeah, his first read was to the left. It wasn't there. He went to run, and he just saw Mitchell over there wide open and just threw it. That's not a read. That's oh shit, you're open. I'm throwing you the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like kind of like a play where he just runs around.
Right,
And then
but it looked like he set that up. He didn't. He just saw his first read was covered and went to haul ass and was like, oh shit, and just threw the ball over there. He happened to be wide open because he had just came off of a chip block. But yeah, you got if the way we play is press man, if we play press man properly, he's gonna be pulling that ball down a lot. So I think we're going to get a lot of coverage sacks out of him. I really do.
That's going to be the challenging part, is stopping our running game, which we've been having a really good running game. And if you guys make that adjustment on slowing down our running game and try to see what Purdy can do, you guys may have a 50-50 chance. But like you said, Purdy is like a gamer where he can move, and then if nobody's open, you might want to have some guys cover in between where Mitchell or McCaffrey could be at.
We're getting healthy at the right time, man. Shout out to LV. LV stepped up. He knows where to be, and he's playing more aggressive. I think we're getting the rookie version of LV in the playoffs because we're in the playoffs, and he knows, hey, number one, he was just hurt. Number two, he's in a contract year. Number three, we're in the playoffs, so even if he does get hurt, he knows he got a whole offseason to get it right. So in the middle of the season, he was a little more conservative, and I was dog walking him for that. But the way LVE played in the Tampa Bay game, if we get that version of LVE, not even really worried about the run as much or the pass. Like LV was playing rangy the way we expect him to play. And I won't say, the way I am. I don't care who you are or what the player is or what team he's on. Even if it's your team, I'm going to give respect where respect is due. And I'm going to come at you if you playing like trash. And when LV was playing like trash, I was on his ass just like I was on Dak's ass. But I ain't got shit bad to say about LV right now. And I don't got shit bad to say about Dak because they're doing what needs to be done. And when you talk about limiting the run, him being able to play that way, along with Anthony Barr's veteran leadership, and then we got great snaps out of Clark, and we got a couple of snaps out of Cox as well, while LV was out because he was out. Those guys got experience that I wanted them to get while he was gone. So I feel like stopping the run is going to be predicated between LVE and we got healthy at the right time with Hankins being back in the middle of the field. Hankins was the key to us being a tough run defense earlier in the season, both him and Bohanna. And I don't think Bohanna's ready right now, but I don't think he's playing. But if Bohanna and Hankins are in there, those guys, and also don't want to disrespect Carlos Watkins as well. I think Watkins next to Hankins, you're not running the ball. I don't give a shit if McCaffrey's in there or not. You got to hope that you're running off the edges and sealing the edges the right way, which you guys are very good at. I will give you that. Your toss plays are going to give us hell all day. But if we're looking at the Green Bay game, film-wise, if you want to get an understanding as to what you guys like to do scheming on the edge, a good thing for a lot of the guys who are watching this to do, including yourself, go look at the Cowboys versus Green Bay. That's a lot of the things that you guys like to do when you're trying to set the edge or get out there and run on the edges, off tackle and tosses and all those things. The way they were cracked backing on us is the way you guys like to do it with Kittles as well. So I think it'll be a similar game plan on the ground as the Packers game.
Yeah, the way they were running the ball too with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, they were very effective, and that's what really kind of struggled you guys. So maybe that's where we need to expose the most is that's. Yeah. Let's see, for the Cowboys, what I feel like what's concerning is how we're going to be able to game plan on Michael Parsons. I mean, he's another guy, but he plays good at times. Yeah, he's good.
You say he played good at times. What'd you say?
He plays good at times with the coverage sacks, the coverage sacks and all the plays. I mean, sometimes he'll have his moments, but he'll make the plays. When he needs the plays, he'll make the plays.
At times, like, yeah, he's all right. You crazy.
We got a game plan, Michael Parsons. Man, that guy's everywhere.
You better game plan him, man. Michael Parsons coming for that ass. Most of the sacks that we got on the team, even the ones not named Michael Parsons, are coming because Michael Parsons. Last week, Hankins got a sack, and my man Chauncey almost got a sack, and that's because Michael Parsons was on that ass. Tom Brady, was throwing the ball like I've never seen Tom Brady throw the ball because Michael Parsons is on that ass. And if your boy pull that ball down and don't pay attention to where he going, Michael Parsons gonna kill his ass, and I can't wait. Purdy gonna get fucked up this game, bro. It's not. It ain't gonna be easy. I can tell you that because we coming for that ass, and we healthy at the right time. So again, you better hope that we don't score early and we don't get up 10 points or more early in the game, forcing you to throw the ball a little bit more with Purdy. If it's a close game and you guys keep it close and it's a field position game, may the best team win. Then it's going to be 50-50. It ain't 50-50 if this offense is doing what I know it can do and we score early. It's Purdy ass. I guarantee it.
Well, we'll keep it close. It's anybody's game. But, you guys are just you guys get a little early start because first half, the Niners don't look as great in the first half. We always tend to, look like – I don't know what it is with the first half team. We just play like trash for a while.
Just and then the fact that you run the ball so much. So with teams that run the ball so crazy and so aggressively, you might have it. If we're game planning for the run, when we get your initial looks, in order to get your counters, you have to set up something first. So you have to put something on film on the field, and you also have to, it's a war of attrition too. You're tiring us out, and you're showing us something. So you might show a look where you're running a stretch play, or you're running a toss on this particular look, and we might stop that the first half. The second half, you're going to give the same look, but you're going to counter that. And that's why in the second half, you start to break out there and get those big plays like Debo's 74-yarder last week. They ran the same shallow cross, but this time, what they were doing was running deep crosses and digs first. That's what you guys did to set that up. So you run deep crosses and digs where it looks like it's a dig, but it's really a cross route, because a dig route is usually, as soon as they hit that end breaking route, the ball's right there. You guys are running like a rounded off dig where you're taking it all the way across the field deep. When Debo ran here, they put him in the slot inside, and they ran it shallow with somebody running the dig over the top of him, and they ran it shallow. And that guy who ran the dig over the top was like a lead blocker, sort of like when we played Minnesota and we threw it out to Pollard on the right hash, and we had Schultz out there lead blocking for him because Schultz was running a seam route right behind Tony Pollard, and Tony Pollard ran a wheel route right underneath that. So when we hit Tony was behind. He had this guy behind him, and Schultz is right in front of him with a man on him, but he's blocking that guy all the way up the field. You guys did the same thing but with a crossing route with Debo. But it was because you've been setting it up all day with those routes. So the reason you guys blow up in the second half is because you're a good counter team, and Shanahan's patient with his offense. So he'll set it up and he'll give you the same run. He'll run the same play, like remember the Titans in the first half, and it looks like, so you get used to it. He lulls you to sleep, and then it's like, oh shit, he did something different this time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's why you guys don't score early, because he's not aggressively trying to, get downfield. It's not a dynamic offense early. It's like, I'm going to do this to set you up for what I really want to do to you later. And if it scores, it scores. If you guys aren't paying attention early, it's going to be a quick and easy game. If we're paying attention, then I'll get you in the second half. That's his style. And you're going to be tired because we're going to keep doing it.
That's going to be a little physical dogfight, because if you guys can get on a quick score, it's anybody's game, because like you guys have, if you get a quick lead, it's just a matter of what's going to happen in the second half. But this is an evenly matchup, no matter how people look at it. It's not going to be a cakewalk for neither team. It's going to be like whoever wants it more, because this is a dogfight. Go advance to the conference championship. You get a chance to play against one of your NFC East divisions or the Niners goal. It's one or the other. This is pretty much like in the past, whoever won this playoff game is either going to win the Super Bowl this year.
I look at it that way too, bro. I feel like there's a narrative that's brewing. If the Eagles can beat the Giants, there's a narrative that's, even the Giants are pretty good, but I think we got the Giants easily. We showed that we're a different team. But with the Eagles, you notice Dak and Hurts haven't seen the field together yet. They haven't played each other. So that's going to be interesting to see. And I think that's the narrative that's brewing, really. When you look at the quarterbacks that are in the playoffs right now, you got in the NFC anyway, Daniel Jones, I think he's getting there, but he's not dynamic yet. He's getting there. And then Purdy, I think I love Purdy's heart. Like, Purdy's like a young Favre, but he just needs to settle down just a little bit, learn to read the field. If he can learn, right now he's like I won't even say Favre. I say Favre because of his heart. But the offense that they're running for him is more Jared Goff with the Rams. You know what I mean? He only has to read one side of the field. He's making one read. If that read isn't there, and that's why they're doing all the crossing routes, because they're hoping somebody rubs open. And crossing routes are like some of the hardest routes to cover too. But they require time, and he has to buy that time with his legs. So right now, Purdy's a guy where if you can hit him early and you can figure him out early, I think you can make you guys one-dimensional right now. I don't think you're a bad team. I don't think the 49ers are bad. You guys have a complete team, but you got hit with that injury bug at quarterback early in the season. I don't think Purdy's the guy to take you to the Super Bowl this year. I just don't think it. It could happen. You could beat us. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I don't. When you look at teams, I feel like Dak Prescott and Hurts are the quarterbacks to beat in this playoff run right now. And I think we edge out a physical game against you guys. It's going to be physical both sides. If Dak is upright, though, we are on the road. But if Dak is upright and we can protect Dak, I think we beat you guys by 7 to 10 points, man. I don't know what the score is going to be, but I know it's going to be, 20s to 30s. I don't see you holding us below 20 points. I just don't see it. Not like last year. I don't see it happening. But we did have that Washington game that's on film, and that came from Dak pressing a little bit too much, I think. And the offensive play calling was vanilla in that game because we were heading to the playoffs, and I don't think we wanted to put a lot on film. If we could have beat you guys playing basic, we would have. Beat Washington playing basic, we would have done it. But I don't think we were trying to pull out all the stops in that game. It didn't look like it anyway.
Well, like for you guys, definitely has to, you got to take those quick passes, and the protection for Dak Prescott is definitely going to be key because that's where we struggle. And yeah, you can look at the matchups, how we fare. If you take a playbook from what the Chiefs and the Raiders did, that's good success of how you can beat our defense. Those quick screen passes, the good protection, finding those chemistry, those quick passes, bro. That's all it takes. Because if you guys can get a rhythm in and throw in the quick passes like the way how Dak would do it, I think it'll give us trouble on defense for sure.
And you got, Bosa, who last year he was dealing with a banged up Tyron. I think Tyron's healthy at the right time. And Tyron's actually on the right side. And he was dealing with Collins, whose trunk is not the same. Collins can't move his lower body the same way he used to. Him having to deal with, I think that's a key that nobody's talking about is the fact that Tyron Smith is a right tackle right now. Tyron Smith being at right tackle and playing the way he's playing at right tackle makes us instantly better. And I'm not saying he's not better than Steele was, but the missing link of not having Steele and having Tyron come back when he did made it so that we don't miss Steele as much as we would. Because if we were out there, we're having Peters, who's a little older, or I don't even know, Ball or whoever else we were going to have over there trying to block Bosa, we would have been sliding protection. It would have changed a lot of the ways we would have been able to call plays because we would have had to come out there with heavy formations, heavy tight end formations to try to help that guy out. We don't have to do that because we got Tyron's over there and he balling, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Hey, this is a good question by one of your followers right here.
That's Gordon. Gordy, what's up, man?
Okay, so which defender would you put on the Niners playmaker, which he's referring to you, and which Niner defender would you put on the Cowboys playmaker?
Well, defenders on playmakers, I would say our heat seeker, Dono, he's our best spy, period. I saw Dono spy Fields from high safety. He was spying Fields. There's a play where he almost got a sack on Fields. Fields got like 1 yard, where he's spying from the deep middle of the field and still got down there. His ability to drive and pursue is crazy. So I will put Dono on spy. Like you're spying C-Mac and you're spying Purdy, period. And then go after Purdy with our front four. Purdy's going to be moving around. And when he's moving around there, just make sure when he spills out, he's going to get a few first downs. But if Purdy has a lot of yards on the ground, I think that's a win for us. I'm not worried about him on the ground. If you get Purdy connecting deep because you're not paying attention or because you're not staying back, then you got a problem. But Purdy spilling out a couple times for a first down, I'm not scared of that. So I say Dono is going to be key when it comes to spying C-Mac, both him and Parsons. And then as far as Debo, when Debo's actually playing receiver, I know the obvious pick would be saying put Trayvon on him. But no, I say you put Trayvon on whoever your true receiver is, Ayuk or whoever you have out there on the edge that's going to be actually receiving. When it comes to Debo, because he's a dynamic, gritty, physical guy, I think I like either of the other two, Izzy Makamu or Bland on Debo, because both of those guys are far more physical than Diggs is, and they're gritty and they know how to play in the mess. Where Diggs is not a mess guy. Like if you rub Diggs, you rub around him, you put him in the slot. That's not his thing. He needs to be out on the edge. So I say you put Diggs on your number 2 guy and say those go routes that they're throwing at you, if they's crazy enough to throw one up there at you, take it. But what you do is you put Bland in the slot on Debo when Debo's moving around, or you put Makamu on him. And both those guys are big and physical and evil corners. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would want to see. And then you keep Hooker back. Hooker stays back over the top. He's that rainbow. And you help out whoever's trailing Debo. That's how I would go about it. So, Gordon, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and to answer the question of what he said on the other vice versa, I would just put Travarius Ward on CeeDee Lamb because it would be more of a physical matchup. Linebacker like Drake Greenlaw, I would try to keep him spying from Dak Prescott from scrambling because he's effective. Like when he runs, he'll get those big chunk of yards at times. But
How you feel about Travaris in the slot though?
With the Barnes in the slot,
Travaris Ward. How you feel about him in the slot?
I don't know about slot. I think you're referring to Jimmy Ward.
No, that's what I'm talking about. If you put Travaris Ward on him on CD don't really he don't line up out wide. He lines up in the slot. If you see the play that I think Carlton Davis gave up a wide open play to CD last game, it was because he's not a slot guy either, and he had CD in the slot, and we immediately confused him because we forced him to switch, and they didn't know which person should have been the switch guy, Ryan or Davis. And I think if you try to line Ward up on Travaris Ward up on CD, we're going to cook him because he can't come into Travaris Ward's I like him. He was a Cowboy. We found him under the Chris Richard regime, but we lost him for some reason. But I like him on the edge more so than I like him in the slot. So I think Travaris Ward will be on Gallup most of the game, or TY. But I don't think he'll be on CD much at all. I think you guys will cover CD by committee, to be honest with you.
Like either with Lenore or either Jimmy Ward, one or the other. So it would
probably. I would love it. Do it. Do it.
Let's see what happens. But like you said, Gallup will probably either be covered with Travaris Ward, but like we're gonna have to make sure we spy on Dak Prescott, because if he doesn't have enough time in the pocket, we've seen this guy scramble. So that's gonna be the main key, because we struggle against mobile quarterbacks. Mobile quarterbacks give us a hard time out of any other.
That's anybody though, yeah. All of us struggle against those guys because there's a different element. You cover the first play, you've covered the first look, the scripted look, and then there's improvisation that goes on where they're using their legs to. You saw that play to Schultz where Dak scrambling to the left. Schultz wasn't open at first. Well, he was, but Dak couldn't get the ball to him at first. But when he runs, he uncovers again because Dak's running to his left, and he just came back open. So that's going to give anybody problems, man. So, but your other playmaker, Kittle. Kittle it depends, because I saw Kurtz is hurt. Kurtz is usually our tight end man up guy. I think Izzy can do that, but I don't know what Izzy's going to be doing in this game. I don't know if he's going to be a corner or if he's playing safety. If he's playing safety in place of Kurtz, if Kurtz is not ready, then I think Izzy will probably be on George Kittle's most of the day, if he's playing in that Kurtz role. Or you might see a little bit of Cox get in and actually play that role too, because I think Cox is a guy that you can trust to man up against tight ends as well. I don't know if they want him doing it for the first time in a game this big though, but Izzy, I think they trust. So you might see Izzy if he's playing safety and replacing Kurtz, then you'll see Izzy primarily on Kittle, and you may see Rhodes on the outside with a combination of Bland using them that way. So I don't know. I'm not sure what Quinn is going to do, but it depends on the personnel.
Yeah, one or the other. But you're gonna have to put somebody to cover up Kittle pretty well, because like you had Kurtz. I don't know what's going on with the injury. Is he gonna even play this week? Is the question.
Don't look like it. I mean, a sprained knee is a sprained knee. It ain't going. I don't think he tore anything, but I don't look like, from the look of the injury. I haven't done the injury updates. I don't usually do that till Friday, because you never know. They'll be like the guy sitting out of practice, but sometimes you're getting those veteran days off to kind of save those legs for the playoffs too. So we do that with Parsons a lot. We definitely do that with D-Law a lot because of his foot. He got fractures in both feet, but they just don't talk about it. But and he has a arthritis in his right knee. So we kind of sit those guys down during practice. So I start looking at it. If they don't practice Friday, then I know they're probably not playing.
Yeah, usually the last final day of practice on Friday.
Kurt says he's 100% playing. He said that yesterday, so I guess I'm wrong already.
Well, that's going to have to be your matchup. I would have to put Kurtz at Kittle, if I'm being honest, because you want a big physical safety to match up to him more better than a linebacker.
Oh, yeah, you can't put a linebacker on Kittle. Kittle will kill LVE. He'll kill Barr. There's only one linebacker on our – well, two. Cox can cover him, and so can Parsons. But Parsons, we need him pass rush.
Yeah, definitely. But I think Parsons does more than just rush the passer. He just gets all over the field, makes the tackles, and that's what's so key about him, is like he does more than just rush the passer. He can just cover or either just make the key tackles.
Yeah, facts. Facts,
But
man.
but if I had to choose the coverage wise, I don't know. Like they either put Hufanga with the tight end, but sometimes he needs to read his coverage. But he's kind of like a guy that has good instincts, but he's kind of a gambler at times, and that can be what really hurts our defense at times.
Who you talking about? Greenlaw? Who you talking about?
No, totally no Hufanga. Like if you
Oh,
were to
Fungo,
match up
yeah.
to your tight end,
We got too many tight ends though. I mean, you see what Ferguson's able to do. You know what Henny can do, and I don't. Schultz is a guy who's he's growing on me a lot more. Like I already like Schultz, but Schultz's IQ and his chemistry with Dak, I think we'd be crazy at this point to get rid of him because Dak can throw to any tight end. Don't get me twisted, but he and Schultz have like an ESP going on where he understands where Schultz is going to be. Schultz's only knock is the fact that, and I think he kind of has that LVE effect too, because Schultz didn't want to go across the middle very much early in the season or throughout the season because it's a contract year for him. So an injury kills him, right? So he wasn't extending his arms. Him and CD were kind of like pulling up on routes throughout the middle of the season. It's the playoffs though. Schultz in the Tampa Bay game showed me like, you know, he's pulling out all the stops, like especially on that touchdown. On that touchdown where Dak was scrambling, he thought he braced for a hit and he still went after the ball. Schultz wasn't doing that earlier in the season. So I'm seeing that now. And him and Dak have good chemistry. I don't think any combination that you guys run, any scheme that you run is going to stop Schultz completely because of that chemistry. They have a Tony Romo and Jason Witten type chemistry.
yeah, chemistry is what matters, especially for Dak having that chemistry with a tight end. That's always valuable, especially in the passing game. Especially how they have the tight ends have the length, they can block, they can do everything, and especially in the red zone, that's what makes it so deadly. And Schultz, man, he's very good. Like as far as like your playmaker, man, this guy can make the catches. He doesn't get enough recognition that everybody gives him credit for. I mean, I think he's in between the top 5 tight ends, if I'm being honest. Like you don't see a lot of the dirty work he does too.
Yeah, there you go. He can block his ass off too. He blocked Bosa brother last year, was throwing him all over the place, man. Shows a beast. Um, he says part of the AKs, Akoye will Tack get some run this week. Tack McKinley hasn't gotten much run at all. I don't know what they want to do with him, but again, I say it depends on how much. Like Dan knows him better than we do. So Dan Quinn knows Tack and he knows what he's capable of. So if it's a matter of trust, maybe Dan trusts him more than I can say I trust him because I haven't seen him play for us yet. But Dan might put him in there for a tick. Who knows? And plus, he plays on the line, so it's not something that's like, you know, it's not as intricate. You know what I mean? He has to contain, of course. But Tack plays a lot like I used to say. I said this when we scouted him, watching him, and when we were about to play Atlanta one year. But he plays a lot like he's the D Law of Atlanta. He was their D Law, a guy that doesn't have pass rush moves, but he's aggressive and crazy, and he'll run through your face. And actually, that's the reason he's here. He was on the Rams, and he tried to run through. He tried to beat his own teammates' ass on the sidelines, and they cut his ass. So he's a wild man. So I like Tack, but I don't know if we trust him enough to put him in. But I like him. GDO 22. He said, "What do you think about matching up Bland with on McCaffrey?" No. Why we did that a few years ago, yeah, with J. Lou versus the Saints. When McCaffrey's out wide, you mean? Of course, like you're not going to put a linebacker on McCaffrey when he's out wide because McCaffrey does line up at receiver when Debo's in the backfield. So in those instances, of course, we will do that. But I don't think you spy him with Bland if that's what you mean. No, no. I think you stick with what you know and you leave a safety on him. If it's him coming up out of the backfield, it's a safety, or it's LV. Unfortunately, I don't think LV can keep up with him. That's my scariest matchup in the air. If you guys can find, is McCaffrey in the air coming out of the backfield though. I'm not half as afraid of him if he lines up at wide receiver. It's when he's coming out of the backfield. You guys have a play where you ran 4 goes, so all 4 go. Everybody was streaming up the field, and nobody ran a route. I'm like, nobody's really running full speed, and that's because their job was to draw everybody deep. And McCaffrey takes off late, and he didn't even really throw a route. It was like right in the red zone against Seattle. He just tosses the ball to McCaffrey, and it's McCaffrey and a linebacker in open space. He just put his foot in the ground and just went for the goal line. And that was like one of your possessions where you got into the red zone. I don't remember how that drive ended. Matter of fact, That might have been the Mitchell drive where Mitchell got that touchdown. I think it was like right before that.
One of those plays, one of those plays where he
McCaffrey caught a
extended it.
little comeback route, just a little curl route, and just took off. Our arrow route, I think it was, but he just took off. But so I think him and LV's problem is in change of direction, and McCaffrey will exploit that, especially on grass. So if the matchups that they find with him on LV are going to be what they try to exploit again. Our bar, it doesn't matter. They're going to try to exploit that if they get us in those matchups out of the backfield. But the good thing is those routes take a little bit more time to develop, and if we can get to Purdy, we can kind of keep him off of those.
Yeah, that's what you want to do is get those pressures. But like you said, McCaffrey in the backfield is scary. But you wouldn't want to put LV in that situation or any of the other players, right?
You said I wouldn't want to put LV on him?
Yeah, because you said he's not that fast.
No, LV can't change directions well enough. His hip's too tight. I wouldn't want LV on him, but he will be at times. That's what I'm saying. If you can,
it's going to be a mismatch right there.
He's going to be on him. His linebackers are going to have to cover running backs out of the backfield at some point in every game. It's going to happen. It's just, can you take advantage of it when it does happen? And other things factor into it. Like, do you have time in the pocket to even see it or recognize it? Or can the quarterback get the ball out there? You saw Tom Brady trying to get the ball to the flats a lot, and those balls are going into the dirt because he was under pressure. So it's other aspects other things we can use to kind of protect LV in those situations.
Yeah, like you're going to have him in that matchup, but it's going to be mismatch on paper from the looks of it. But as far as like Tony Pollard, he does a lot for your offense. Also catch the ball at the backfield, but he's more of a lightning than he is a thunder.
Who?
No, Pollard. Like he's he's an explosive running back. He'll make some plays.
Pollard is more physical than people giving him credit for. Though I don't understand that. Like they don't watch him or something. Like Pollard, he lowered his shoulder, and he didn't get hurt this year, which is crazy. He's been playing very physical this season. Do I want him taking the ball 300 times a season? No, I don't want him to be a bell cow guy. But in the time, and he's more, he's less Kamara and more LaDainian. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not the biggest guy, but he can take punishment better than what people were saying. You know what I mean? LaDainian was about the same size. You know what I mean? They're about 218, 215, somewhere in there. They're not huge guys. You know what I mean? But he can take it better than what people are giving him credit for, and he can lower that shoulder. Like McCaffrey's a scat guy. You know, he gets hit, but you don't want him getting hit. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Pollard can take the punishment.
So if you had to go by the matchup, which running back would you give the most carries, or would you split it between Zeke or Pollard?
This game?
Yeah.
Well, obviously you want Pollard to touch the ball 15 times. I don't care how he gets it. It doesn't matter about when you say carries. Yeah. That's like a trick question because I don't care about Pollard's carries.
Oh, touches
15 for Pollard for sure. Zeke, it depends if Zeke's hot. If Zeke hot, give it to him. I don't care. I don't care if Zeke get the ball 20 times because with Zeke, it's not to me, and a lot of people don't agree with me, especially Cowboys fans. But to me, Zeke's carries to me aren't about yardage all the time for me. Zeke's carries are about punishment. So I want Zeke to touch the ball 15 times at least because I want him punishing your front four, punishing your linebackers. Zeke is a punisher. So when it comes to how many carries he should get enough to make you guys not want to deal with him and to open it up for Pollard so Pollard can do his thing. So Zeke is the jab or the body shots. Pollard is the haymaker. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just come out throwing haymakers. Well, you could if you're a bum, you know what I mean? So you get knocked out. But when you fight a guy who knows what he's doing, you better, pepper him up a little bit first with some jabs and some body shots. And that's Zeke. So if Zeke's getting off, he's getting off. If he's not getting off, I'm cool because Zeke is still, running through faces. So that's all I need him doing. In this type of game, you want Zeke carrying the ball. But I wouldn't say carrying the ball more necessarily than Tony. It doesn't matter. There's games this season where Zeke's carried the ball well and Tony hadn't run that well, but Tony was getting options in other ways. And also Tony's presence on the field, period, even when he's not a look, even if it's not a look where he's getting the ball passed to him either, he's still also a decoy, a lot like Debo is for you guys. You got to pay attention to Tony or it's going to be a very long day.
Yeah, he makes those big runs, and he does lay the boom where he breaks tackles here and there. Like you said, he's a little physical, and he's He's built like kind of more like a wide receiver with that big body.
Yeah. Somebody says that punishing argument is complete nonsense. NFL defenses laugh at that dumb shit. This dude's an idiot. Whoever said that, you must have never played football, or you must have never done nothing physical in your
None of
life.
those comments.
Yeah, he a desk jockey or some shit. I don't know, but you must have never. I used to say this to people like people be talking shit about jabs, like how you get knocked out by jabs. Like y'all must have ain't been punched in the face in a while. Punches hurt. You know what I'm saying?
They do.
Tackling Zeke hurt. I don't give a shit what you talk about, man. You definitely need to do it. And giving the ball to Tony 25 times, I don't give a shit. If he's hot, give it to him 25 times. But definitely makes sense when you have a guy who could punish guys running the ball. Ask anybody who ever played Brandon Jacobs on a game where he had 30. They held him to 30 yards, but so the fuck what is Brandon Jacobs? Who the hell wants to tackle that guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Pollard gives you more of those average yards, like if you give him more of the touches. Like I've always thought maybe Zeke needs to take lesser of a role and let Pollard be the guy, but I see that
that's definitely the thing right now, man. We've had games where Zeke's got off more, but if the games where we're like where we blow the lid off are games where we get the ball to Tony early and often and we game plan him properly. You guys have one element that I think might be bad for Tony. And he said, I play for stop talking all that shit, bro. I'm in Philly, bro. All that bitch talking, all that, bro. I don't do that shit. Stop that dumb shit, because I ain't talking shit to you personally. But if you want to talk shit personally, I have gyms in Philly. You can show up, I'll knock you the fuck out. Anyway, what's bad for Tony in this game is the fact that you guys get to scout against C-Mac all year. So C-Mac is a lot like Tony. So because you practice against a guy like that's bad for C-Mac and it's bad for Tony in this game. We see a guy that's like C-Mac. We see him in Tony. And you guys see a guy that's like Tony and C-Mac. So those guys might not be as effective as you might think unless, guys make a mistake. But we get the benefit of seeing guys that play similar to those guys every week in practice.
Yeah, and the preparation.
About cursing on your channel. I don't know if you do all that, but
it's all good, man.
That was one of my little hood moments.
Yeah, I like the ruthless talk, man. That's the ruthless.
Yeah, I don't like that type of shit. People talk that. I don't talk about people personally. Don't talk about me personally. Like you want to talk personally, we ain't gotta talk. You know what I mean? I don't like that.
Man, dude. I mean, I get it. I respect it, man. But I know we've been going on for a little while. But as far as your score prediction, man, let's pick a score prediction before we end the show, brother.
Score prediction. I'd say 27-24 sounds real, but 27-20 somewhere in there. Hold on, let me see how I write these comments. Yeah, 27-20 somewhere in there. That's why I would give it.
Okay, so you believe? I mean, it's confidence. You're building momentum. You're coming into the road against the Niners, so it's gonna have some work. We have pressure, so it's definitely gonna be pressure on Brock Purdy because you guys are the underdogs. People are picking against you.
Yeah, see, and that's the other thing you don't pay attention to. You haven't touched on Vegas yet.
What did Vegas got for you, man?
Well, I think we -2.5, something like that. We got to win by 3, but it's not about the spread. It's about what the nation is betting. And because nobody likes the Cowboys in the media, this is the first time I think in the last 30 years that it's actually working out in our favor. Usually, when the Cowboys are winning, we get too much hype and we become the favorite. So people bet on us. I don't want anybody betting on the Cowboys. Bet on the Niners. Because when the nation bets on the opposite team, like last week, 65% of the nation bet on Tampa Bay. 65 to 70%, depending on what site you were looking at. When that happens, you notice we only had 2 penalties that game, right? Because Vegas is not making the phone call like, hey, we need more penalties to keep this game closer because we don't want to lose our shirts on Dallas. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah. But if no money is on Dallas, nobody gives a fuck. So hopefully the money is all on the 49ers this week. And if it is, I think that bodes well for us as far as penalties are concerned. And then Brett Mahar, whoever he owed money to, I hope that's paid up because Brett Mahar, there's no way you could tell me he missed those kicks by accident. It's like somebody said, look, Brett, we can't get Dak to do it. So we need somebody to shave points. You know what I mean? You're going to make $2 million for this game. That's like somebody told him he's going to get paid crazy for that game because It makes no sense to miss that many extra points and be as accurate as he's been. Like he's made a lot of kicks for us. So man, and oh man, listen to Thomas Williams. My IG page is Akoye Media. Go on to my IG, hit me in my DM. I would love for you to come to the gym, brother.
Ooh.
It's all love here, man. Cause I'll knock you out and hug you right after, man. Come on.
Yeah, I got you.
321 East Fairmount. That's the gym. It's called Northern Liberties Rec Center, man. Come down there and ask for Darius.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Any day after 5 o'clock.
We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens on Sunday, but let the best team win, man. But as far as like you said, it might not even be X factors with Pollard or McCaffrey. It's going to have to come down to somebody else, like either Kittle or Schultz would have to be the factor of this offense for sure.
Yeah. It's not. I mean, it could happen. I'm just saying, it's not just a given that C-Mac and Pollard are going to get off, because we see guys, like I said, they might get canceled out because those defenses are good and they do see players that are similar to that every day. You know what I mean? So that's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to come down to how creative our coordinators can be too, and execution. If you guys are making mistakes or we're making mistakes, you can't make mistakes against those guys, because then it's home run. You already know. So both Debo and C-Mac, you can't make mistakes. You can't make mistakes against CD either. It's over for you if you do. So you guys are banged up in the secondary. That's not going to look real well with the way Dak is playing right now. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I think right now the cards are tilted in our favor. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm saying that because it's true. It's real. You know what I mean? We have a better quarterback, in my opinion. Usually those teams win. And then I think we're healthier at the right time than you guys are currently. And I think that's just, it might translate into us, winning this football game.
Yeah. I mean, the protection, man, if you guys give Dak some time, man, that could be a long day for us. But if we get those pressure on Dak, man, that can be a problem.
If you can get pressure on Dak, it'll be because you were bringing pressure. And if you bring pressure against Dak with a weak secondary, you're giving him opportunities. If you play back all day, then Dak's going to, still, like I watched Tampa Bay do both. They play too high safety, which used to be a problem for Dak, but Dak's finding ways. We're running concepts like flood concepts in the middle of the field, where there's a two-way go for that linebacker. If he floats up over the top in the middle of those safeties, trying to ride the seam up with that tight end, we throw it underneath. Dak's been getting pretty good at that. Also, we'll run like slant routes behind the tight end, like we did with that. I think it might have been CD. I don't know who. I think it was CD across the middle of the field, or it was TY, one of them. But Dak had a two high safety look. We ran a dig route with Schultz underneath. That pulled the linebacker down. We ran a post right behind him, and Dak's hitting those. So those concepts are starting to work when it comes to teams that want to play us the way Denver played us last year and the way you guys played us last year, where too high safety was like the last vestige that Dak had to figure out. And I think he figured it out last year. So now he's and the reason he's been throwing interceptions, if you notice, he never used to throw interceptions in the middle of the field. It just started this year because he's been being aggressive with those too high looks and trying to split those safeties, consistently doing that, and even throwing the ball, throwing guys open, throwing anticipatory routes, back shoulder fades, jump balls. Dak wasn't doing that 3 years ago at all. I was the one to grind him up for it. I'm like, you can watch Dak. He wasn't throwing. There's no anticipation. He's waiting for guys to get open. In the Tampa Bay game earlier this year, where I think he was just a little jittery, he reverted back to that. He was waiting for guys to get open, seeing their face, seeing the numbers, then letting the ball go. That's too late. Since he came back, he has not been doing that. And I think that's going to be a problem for you guys. You know what I mean? And if you stay back, he could pick you apart. If you come and get him, then shit, you risking it. You risking it if you do that. Because if he see it, he got you.
We shall see, man.
Yeah.
All right. So let the best team win. Best of luck, bro. Maybe we'll get back.
We got one more super chat here. He said
one more super chat for you. Yeah.
James Tyson said, two actually. Oh no, that's one. He said Dak gonna get hurt with his legs. He gonna keep it. Dak gonna hurt him with his legs. Gonna keep the chains moving. Yeah, he will. I think Dak's willing to run in the playoffs. I think he's willing to run in the playoffs. He's gonna risk it all to try to win the Super Bowl this year. I think this is the year for us. Really, I do. Nothing against you, man. You just something else we got to run through, man. You know,
we're an obstacle, dude. We're just getting. We're on the same goal. We all want the Super Bowl too. So
I like the Niners when they ain't playing the Cowboys, but I mean this week, you know what I mean, y'all get the horns, man. It is what it is.
It is what it is, man.
If he dies, he dies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but for everybody else, man, for those other people who are Niner fans and my own follower, man, this is Akoye Media. He's a Cowboys film breakdown guy.
Shout out to all y'all too.
What?
No, I'm saying shout out to all y'all, man. I was just saying giving the Niners fans on your channel a shout out. That's all.
Oh, for sure, man. And shout out to those Dallas fans that have been showing support to you, man. And shout out to you for being the real G, bro. I've
been painting all day, man. I wasn't gonna make this show. I was like, damn, he about to be pissed off because I'm doing but I got here.
I'm understandable, dude. I wasn't even like tripping. I was saying, hey, we can go tomorrow, whatever works for you.
My daughter, shout out to Samaya, my daughter, My Addiction, her nail studio. My 19-year-old got her own business, and I was, at her studio helping her get it set up and all that. So, hey, man, it is what it is.
All right, for sure, man. No worries, man. Hey, looking forward to the next time, man. We'll definitely catch up again.
Peace.
All right, man. Peace.
Yo, if y'all on here, shoot over the Foots. If Foot's still on, I'm gonna jump on the show. All right. Peace.
All right, peace.